For 5 years, I paid for every holiday, while my family lived off my paycheck. I thought I was helping out, until I found a group chat mocking me as family ATM tracker. I kept receipts, made a plan, and burned it all down. Sup Reddit. My family treated me like their personal bank for years. I finally cut them off, moved across the country, and started over. Thought it was done, until they showed up at my door like nothing happened. Before I get there, let me start from the beginning. My name's Jake Hollis. I'm 33 and work nights as a trauma nurse at a mid-size hospital outside Kansas City. It's not glamorous, just long hours, bad coffee, and too many double shifts. I rent a small apartment above an old hardware store and one of the old service bays out back for a garage. I drive a beat-up F-150 that smells like disinfectant and don't get out much. My family says I work too much. Funny thing is, most of the time, I'm working because of them. There's Mom, Linda, early 60s, still in the same house we grew up in. Dad's technically around, but they've been separated for years, which means she calls him when something breaks and he pretends to be busy. He wasn't on the family group chats or any shared accounts. Mom kept him off so it wouldn't be messy, she said. So he missed most of the asks and all of the punchlines. My brother Kyle's 30, calls himself an entrepreneur, but it's mostly side hustles that fail. My younger sister Mia's 26, fresh off an online degree, still living at home. They're not bad people, or at least I didn't think so. They just rely on me too much. When a car broke down, rent was late, or a family emergency popped up, I was the one who fixed it. I liked feeling useful, the dependable one. I told myself that's what family did. It was just after midnight when I clocked out that night. My back hurt, my scrubs reeked of antiseptic, and my brain felt fried. I should have gone home, but Mom had been calling all week about her tablet acting weird. Her last voicemail said, "Jakey, I just need you to look at it. It's driving me nuts." So, like always, I went. Her house looked the same as always. Flickering porch light, cracked steps, the old bless this mess mat. I parked behind Dad's dusty SUV, there like always even though he didn't live there anymore, grabbed my backpack and let myself in. Door unlocked, as usual. "Jake?" she called from down the hall. "Yeah, it's me," I said. "Just fixing your tablet." The kitchen hadn't changed. Coupons by the microwave, sticky note with passwords on the fridge, and a calendar filled with her handwriting, doctor's appointments, church bake sales, and a note on November, Thanksgiving food run. Jake brings everything. Mom shuffled in wearing her robe and handed me the tablet. "It just freezes," she said. "I think it hates me." "Probably needs updates," I told her. She smiled, said I was a lifesaver, and went back to her room. The thing was ancient, full of junk apps and pop-ups. I cleared some space, restarted it, and went to check the settings. That's when a notification flashed across the top. Family chat. ATM tracker. I frowned. I didn't recognize it. Maybe Kyle's new budgeting idea, I thought. The preview said, "Need to update the list before Christmas." I tapped it open. The first message was a meme of a guy throwing money off a cliff. Jake getting paid Friday. Followed by laughing emojis. Kyle wrote, "He'll cover the brisket again, right? No way I'm dropping $200 this year." Mia replied, "Already added to spreadsheet." There was a link, "Things Jake covers." I opened it. The sheet wasn't locked. It was set to anyone with the link. Dozens of rows. Netflix, gym memberships, Costco renewal, truck insurance for Kyle, Mom's health trip deposit. I'd wired money for that one when she said she needed medical tests. The note beside it read, "Cruise payment confirmed." I scrolled farther. Each line had comments. "Say it's for Mom's back. He'll never notice." Screenshots of my Venmo payments followed by laughing emojis. Then I saw one from Mom herself. "He's good for it. He likes feeling useful." My hands went still. I kept scrolling. Years of messages. Every emergency, every favor. They'd turned me into a running joke. Kyle's Vegas photos from the same weekend he'd said his truck broke down. Mia showing off her new influencer setup the week she told me her tuition doubled. Another message popped up live while I was staring. "Jake's got Thanksgiving covered, right? Dude's basically Santa." That was it. I opened the tablet settings, hit record, and scrolled through everything. Chat, spreadsheet, payments, timestamps. Recording worked fine on her tablet. None of the apps blocked capture. Saved the video, transferred it to my laptop, and backed it up twice. I placed the tablet back on the counter like nothing happened. The fridge hummed. Mom laughed at something on TV down the hall. The sticky note on the fridge caught my eye again. The one with all the passwords, and the calendar square. Jake brings everything. I peeled it off, folded it until the ink smudged, and slid it into my pocket. Outside, the air was cold enough to sting. I got into the truck, started the engine, and watched the house lights glow through the windshield. I drove home without music, without thinking, just the hum of the road. Something had broken, and I knew I wasn't fixing it this time. When I got back, dawn was starting to show through the blinds. I sat in the driver's seat for a minute, then grabbed my laptop bag and went upstairs. I made a folder called Family Records. Inside it, I saved the screenshots, the video, and one short note. Start tally tomorrow. That was it. No confrontation, no message, no yelling. Just the first quiet step toward ending the joke. The next morning, I didn't bother with coffee. I hadn't slept much anyway. The truck still smelled like disinfectant and cold air. I drove straight to the print shop and waited while the machine spat out the screenshots, pages of messages, receipts, and that spreadsheet. The clerk asked if I wanted them bound. I said no. Back home, the rented garage bay behind the hardware store felt colder than usual. Cinder block walls, a roll-up door that groaned, oil stains from tenants before me. I spread the printouts on the workbench. The paper edges were still curled from the printer's heat. I laid them flat with a wrench and started sorting. First pile, holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays. Every "we'll pay you back" that never happened. Receipts for turkeys, hotels, decorations, gas. Each total marked in red. Second pile, emergencies. Transfers labeled car repair, rent help, medical bills. I cross-checked the dates with their social media. Kyle's truck repair week matched his Vegas photos. Mom's back procedure lined up with a cruise selfie. Mia's college deposit landed the same week she posted her new camera setup. Third pile, subscriptions. Small stuff I'd forgotten. Netflix, Prime, 2 gym memberships, several phone lines, a warehouse store card, even something called Yoga Stream. I wrote totals on a notepad. Holidays, $12,000 emergencies, $15,000 subscriptions, $7,000 loans and extras, $40,000, plus the total stopped at roughly $74,000. 5 years of overtime and missed days off. I stared at the number until the ink bled through the page. Behind an old shelf, I found a corkboard and propped it up. One by one, I pinned everything. Sticky notes in thick marker, holidays, emergencies, lies. It looked like a detective board, except the suspects were family. The fan kept cycling. I could smell motor oil and dust. I opened my laptop and scrolled through my bank app. Transfers, auto drafts, credit card payments. Things I'd never questioned because I trusted them. $600 here, $1,500 there. Endless small withdrawals that added up. Then I remembered what I'd skipped to make those payments. The dentist appointment I canceled because Kyle said his power got shut off. The month I drove on bald tires because Mom claimed her furnace broke. The 2 weeks I ate cheap noodles at work after sending Mia rent when she lost her job. I added those too. Not just the money, but the cost. The sore tooth that still ached sometimes, the grinding brakes, the exhaustion that never really went away. The board filled fast. I taped receipts in layers, drew arrows, added notes. Not for revenge, just to see it all laid out without excuses. By noon, sunlight reached halfway across the garage floor. Papers fluttered under the fan. I sat on the cold concrete beside my toolbox. The air smelled like oil and printer ink. I looked at the wall. Years of transactions, jokes, and lies pinned in rows. My entire adult life on display, showing exactly how far I'd gone trying to hold everyone else together. I pulled the folded calendar square from my pocket, the one from Mom's fridge that said Thanksgiving food run. Jake brings everything. The ink had smudged overnight, but it was still readable. I pinned it right in the center. For a while, I just sat there, staring. I thought about being 19, holding my first paycheck. Dad telling me, "You're the responsible one, Jake. Keep this family steady." Mom hugging me, saying she was proud. I'd promised to look out for everyone, and I had, just not for myself. The fan rattled again. A few papers slipped loose and landed by my boots. One had a chat line printed across the top. "He's got a hero complex." Nurses are like that. I picked it up and pinned it back. I didn't feel angry, just hollow, like realizing the house you built was never stable to begin with. You don't scream. You plan your next move. I shut the lights off, left the fan humming, and headed upstairs. Before closing the door, I looked once more at the board glowing faintly in the light coming through the garage window. It was messy, but it was honest. Tomorrow I'd start cutting the rest of it loose. The accounts, the auto payments, every connection. For now, I finally had proof of what I'd suspected for years. Not guilt, just facts, pinned and printed in black ink. I woke up early the next day, still half-dressed from the night before. The printouts from the garage stuck in my head like noise that wouldn't shut off. I made a list on a notepad: accounts, passwords, phone plan, credit freeze. It wasn't about getting even. It was about cleaning house. I started with my phone. New number. I didn't want any of them knowing how to reach me once this was done. The carrier rep asked if I wanted to transfer my old contacts over. I said no. I kept one channel open on purpose: the family thread on Messenger, which runs off my email, not my phone number. Then I logged into my account online and saw 7 lines on the account: mine, Mom, Dad, Kyle, Mia, and 2 spare devices that didn't even belong to me. I called customer service. The woman on the line started her script about transferring ownership, but I cut her off. No transfers, I said. Just disconnect everything except mine. She hesitated, said they'd lose their numbers. I told her that was fine. She scheduled the termination for exactly 48 hours later. I wrote the time on a strip of masking tape and stuck it on my steering wheel. Disconnects, 9:02 a.m. Friday. Next were the passwords. I opened every account I could think of: banking, streaming, insurance, memberships, and changed the email to a brand new address. I used a password manager, printed the recovery codes, and locked them in my toolbox. No one but me would ever get in again. Then came the subscriptions. I started with Netflix. 7 active profiles. None of the names were mine. I checked the viewing history: Kyle's thrillers, Mom's baking shows, Mia's influencer documentaries. I deleted every profile, changed the password, and turned on 2-factor authentication. The system kicked them all off immediately. One by one, I hit the rest: Prime, Disney Plus, Hulu, and 2 gym memberships I'd been auto-paying for years. I called the gym and gave them the cancellation code. The guy at the counter said, "You sure? You're listed as a family plan owner." I said, "Not anymore." My email filled with cancellation receipts. Each one felt like a knot loosening. Next, I logged into my insurance account. 2 cars listed under my policy, mine and Kyle's. His monthly premium, $215. I removed his vehicle and updated my coverage to single driver. Then I checked the roadside assistance plan. Dad's name was still on it. I canceled that too. I found something worse buried in my credit card transactions: a store account at a hardware chain I'd never opened. After some digging, I saw the signature. Mine, but sloppier. Kyle again. He'd forged my name for a TV and a power washer 2 summers ago. I filed a dispute online and froze my credit. The page confirmed it would flag any new applications immediately. By mid-afternoon, I'd been sitting at my desk for hours. Laptop fan humming, browser tabs stacked. I moved down my list methodically: utilities, warehouse card, pet insurance that wasn't even for my dog. I had to laugh at that one. I opened a clean spreadsheet labeled Final Dossier. Across 3 columns, I listed every payment I'd made to each of them over the years: dates, amounts, reasons, and proof. I attached screenshots from the group chat and added the bank records underneath. The total came out to $74,221. On the last page, I typed one line: meters off, don't contact me. I exported it as a PDF and saved it on 3 drives: one local, one external, one in cloud storage tied to my new email. I printed a copy and slipped it into a plain folder marked Records, Family. By the time I finished, the sun had shifted across the wall. I stepped out onto the small balcony and looked down at the parking lot. Same old truck, same dent on the fender, but something felt different. For the first time in years, nothing tied to that vehicle or my paycheck was connected to anyone else. When I went back inside, I opened my banking app and stared at the list of upcoming payments. Half of them were gone now. The new balance looked almost empty, but in a good way. I cleaned the desk, stacked my notes, and shut down the laptop. I didn't feel proud, just steady, like I'd tightened every bolt in a machine that had been rattling for too long. Before heading to bed, I looked at the masking tape still on the steering wheel through the window. Disconnects, 9:02 a.m., Friday, 48 hours until every phone line, every leeching subscription, every open door was shut for good. I grabbed a marker and added one more word under it. Done. Friday came faster than I expected. I woke before sunrise. I made a fresh pot of coffee for once and sat at the table with my laptop. The PDF dossier sat on the screen, 74 pages long. Each section labeled, each transfer and receipt stacked in neat order. I'd checked the math twice. Every penny traced, every lie accounted for. Before I sent it, I added a title page. Nothing fancy, just black text on white background: Family Financial Record. 2019 to 2023, compiled by J. Hollis. Then I scrolled to the bottom, read my own closing line again. Meters off. Don't contact me. Still sounded right. At 8:45, I opened the family messenger thread on my laptop. The last unread message was from Kyle, sent 2 nights ago. Phone's acting weird. Jake, you paying the bill this month? I attached the file and wrote, all your questions answered here. Read carefully. I hit send. Read receipts blinked in almost instantly. Mom, Kyle, then Mia. I didn't wait for their replies. I copied the same message into separate emails, attached the PDF again, and turned on read receipts there too. Within seconds, my screen started lighting up. Message previews slid down one after another. Mom. Jake, what is this? Why are you doing this? Kyle. Bro, you serious? You could have just talked to us. Mia. Wait, is this a joke? Please tell me this is a joke. The messages kept coming, overlapping notifications filling the corner of my screen. I opened none of them. Instead, I blocked them in Messenger, then scrolled through my phone contacts and blocked their numbers too. One by one, the list got shorter. The chat icon dimmed. Silence. The apartment felt bigger right after. At 9:02 a.m., I logged into my carrier account. The dashboard showed 7 lines. I refreshed. 1. A message appeared confirming disconnections had completed successfully. A small banner underneath read, Note, account balance will reflect final charges within 24 hours. That was fine. I printed the confirmation, filed it with my other receipts. Next, I went through my emails. The cancellations I'd submitted earlier in the week had started closing out. More would trickle in over the next few days. I opened each one, saved the PDFs, and dropped them in the same folder. The list of active payments in my bank app was half what it used to be. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I wasn't patching leaks anymore. I grabbed my keys and headed to the garage. My hands needed something to do that didn't involve typing. The air still smelled faintly of oil and paper. The board was there on the wall, full of receipts and notes, but I didn't stop to stare at it this time. I rolled the jack under the truck, loosened the lug nuts, and rotated the tires. Checked the brakes, topped off the washer fluid, changed the oil. Nothing dramatic. Just regular work. The kind I used to put off because I was too busy helping family. When I finished, I wiped my hands on a rag and looked at the garage clock. Just after noon. I stepped back, looked at the truck, then at the empty floor around it. No clutter, no unpaid favors sitting in the corner. Just tools and space. I made myself dinner. Eggs and toast, nothing special. Washed the dishes, cleaned the counter, wiped the table. The apartment had never been this quiet, but it wasn't the bad kind of quiet. Around 8, an email came in from the warehouse store. Refund processed to your card ending in 4421. Another from my insurance company confirming Kyle's car had been removed from my policy. I marked them both done. Then I pulled a small notepad from the drawer and wrote a few lines in plain block letters. Don't explain. Execute. Sleep. Work. Eat real food. I tore the page out and taped it above the sink. Before bed, I opened the laptop one more time. The family chat window showed no new messages now. Either they'd stopped or I'd blocked them all. The read receipts on the emails showed everyone had been opened. I powered everything down, even my router, just to feel the silence stretch completely. The only light came from the street outside, a dull orange glow through the blinds. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone face down, thinking about the last 5 years. All those emergencies, all those shifts I'd taken so someone else could have a good time. It wasn't worth replaying anymore. I'd documented it, closed it, and filed it. Done. The apartment felt steady. My money, my work, my time, finally under my own name. I turned off the lights, the hum of the fridge the only sound left in the room. For once, it didn't feel like background noise. It felt like normal life. When I woke up tomorrow, there'd be no messages, no sudden calls asking for money, no last-minute favors. Just a normal day. Work, food, quiet, sleep. That was enough. 2 weeks after cutting everyone off, I got an email from a recruiter I'd talked to months ago. It was for a trauma unit in Oregon, a small mountain hospital outside Bend. I'd turned it down back then because Mom said she needed me close. This time, I didn't even think twice. I opened the message, reread the offer, and replied, "Still interested. When can I start?" They called the next day. The position was open, same pay plus a housing allowance and better hours. The director said, "We could use someone steady." I told her I'd be there in 2 weeks. Packing was easy. Most of what I owned fit into 6 plastic bins and 2 trash bags. I tossed the wobbly table, cracked lamp, and the mattress I'd dragged between rentals for years. Anything that reminded me of scraping by to help someone else went straight to the curb. Each bin got a label: clothes, tools, work gear, papers, kitchen, miscellaneous. Simple. Before locking up, I stood in the doorway. It didn't feel like home, just a space I'd been stuck in too long. The drive west started at sunrise. I filled the truck, grabbed gas station coffee, and headed out. The radio stations faded one by one, replaced by static. I shuffled through my own playlist, finally mine, not shared, and hit play. The highway stretched flat through Kansas, then rolled into Colorado. By the second day, the mountains rose up, sharp against the sky. I slept once in the truck behind a rest stop, jacket for a pillow. The air smelled like pine and cold dirt. Oregon felt different right away. The town was smaller than I expected. One main street, 2 diners, a grocery store, and a hardware shop. The hospital sat on a hill overlooking it all, low building with wide windows facing the ridgeline. The HR rep handed me a badge and said, "Trauma 3 starts tomorrow morning." That night, I moved into a rental cabin 5 miles out. 1 bedroom, small kitchen, cedar smell in the walls. The landlord left a note on the counter. "Welcome, Mr. Hollis. Trail to the river outback. Watch for deer." I unpacked everything: clothes in drawers, tools in the garage, kitchen stuff in order. For the first time, there wasn't a single box that wasn't mine. Next morning, I hit the thrift store and found a couch, a sturdy mattress, and a table that didn't shake. The delivery guys dropped them off that night. The cabin looked lived in within an hour. Not fancy, just solid. A day later, I stopped by the animal shelter. I'd wanted a dog for a while, but never had time. The volunteer led me to the last pen on the right. Inside sat a gray mutt, quiet, tail wagging once like a test. "Diesel," she said. 3 years old. Doesn't cause trouble. He climbed into the passenger seat without hesitation and stayed there the whole ride home, nose pressed against the glass. That night he sniffed every corner of the cabin, circled twice, and settled by the bedroom door. The quiet finally felt normal. Work started the next morning. The trauma unit was smaller but cleaner, more organized. Less shouting, fewer egos. My shift partner, Jenna, showed me around. "We don't do drama here," she said. "We just get it done." I told her that worked for me. Within 2 weeks, I felt sharper. No constant phone buzzing, no emergencies waiting after every shift. I caught small details again. Med orders, patient vitals, changes most people missed. One afternoon, I stopped a new resident from giving the wrong dosage. He thanked me later and said, "Good catch." I just nodded. After work, I started walking the trail behind the cabin. Diesel ran ahead, then circled back every few minutes. The path followed the river, the water steady and quiet. I'd sit at the bend where the current slowed and watch the reflection of the pines move in the surface. At night, I'd read a few pages of something or clean my gear for the next day. Diesel kept his spot at the door. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was steady. I hung a new calendar on the kitchen wall. No notes for anyone else, just work shifts and one small reminder in the corner. "Oh, nobody. Live clean." The job was tough, but it was real. The first paycheck came through, and for once, it all stayed in my account. I paid rent early, bought decent groceries, and picked up a used toolbox for the garage. Standing in that cabin kitchen one night, Diesel asleep near the door, I looked around and realized how simple things could be when they were just yours to manage. No phone calls, no guilt, no one else's bills or crises waiting in your inbox. Just a truck, a dog, a quiet space, and a job that needed doing. By November, snow had started falling steady in Oregon. The mornings were quieter, truck windows fogging before the heater caught up. I was wrapping a 12-hour shift when the receptionist buzzed over the intercom. "Jake, someone's here asking for you," she said. "Says it's family." My stomach tightened. Nobody here even knew I had family. I walked out, pulling off my gloves. Mia sat in one of the plastic chairs by the window, phone in her hand like it proved something. Her hair was shorter, dyed darker, but the same eyes. Careful, watching before softening. "You can't be here," I said quietly. "You need clearance." She stood quick. "I just need 5 minutes, please. I'm not here to ask for anything." I glanced at the receptionist, pretending not to stare. Outside. We stepped into the cold parking lot. Snow crunched under our shoes. "I started paying you back," she said. $200 a month. "It's not much, but it's something." "Keep it," I said. "Fix your life first." Her jaw clenched. "You don't get to act like some saint. You're not better than us." "I didn't say I was," I replied. "You said you weren't here to ask for anything. So don't start." Mia's voice cracked. "You know how bad things got after you left? Mom's losing it. Kyle's out of work. And Dad? Stop, I said. You all had years of my help. You spent it on vacations and toys. You'll figure it out. She stared, waiting for me to feel guilty. You're cold, she said. You used to care. Yeah, I said. I used to. Her face softened. I really am paying you back, Jake. I'm not lying. I believe you, I said. But don't send it. Get your own place. She shook her head, lifted her phone. Already sent it. You can't stop me. I didn't argue. Goodbye, Mia. She called after me. You think you're healed? You're just running. I didn't look back. That night, a notification came through my new email. Deposit received $200. I left it there. Didn't touch it. 2 days later, a brown paper package showed up at the hospital. No label. Inside was a gray knitted scarf and a short letter in Dad's handwriting. Jake, I didn't know half of it. I left. Trying to fix myself. Learning to knit. Your grandma taught me. Not good at it yet, but I'm trying. I'm proud of you, son. I folded the scarf, tucked it into the truck's visor. That night, I brought it inside and left it on the table. Not forgiveness, just something that felt real. The next week, Jenna from work invited me to her family's BBQ. I almost said no, but went anyway. Their backyard was full of mismatched chairs, kids running around, dogs stealing food. Someone burned the burgers, and everyone laughed. Nobody compared paychecks, nobody kept score. Jenna's husband passed me a plate. You're the new guy from Trauma, right? Heard good things. Hope they're true, I said. Everyone laughed again. It felt normal. A few days later, an email came from Mom. I didn't open it, but the preview said, You've abandoned your family. You owe us an explanation. Delete. Then another from a new address. We can't pay the electric bill because of you. Delete. Then Kyle. You destroyed this family, man. Hope you're happy playing house out there. Delete. The messages kept stacking. I made a filter. Anything with their names went straight to trash. That night, Diesel growled when my phone buzzed on the counter. I turned it face down, rubbed his head, and said, We're not doing that anymore. He relaxed, tail thumping once before he drifted back to sleep. As Christmas got closer, snow thickened around the cabin. The hospital needed coverage, so I picked up the holiday shift. 12 hours, good pay, quiet halls. Jenna stopped by before clocking out. You got plans after your shift? Yeah, I said. Steak, Diesel, quiet night. She smiled. Sounds peaceful. You earned that. When my shift ended, I drove home through empty streets. The cabin lights glowed through the snow. I grilled the steak in a cast iron pan, butter and garlic sizzling. Diesel waited by the counter until I gave him a bite. I ate by the window, watching snow pile on the railing. The silence didn't feel empty this time. It felt earned. The scarf sat on the table. I picked it up, rough yarn and uneven stitches, looped it once around my neck. It wasn't perfect, but it was warm. Diesel rested his head on my leg. I sat there, watching snow drift past the window, and thought about how far I'd come since the night I found that chat. No noise, no lies, just quiet. And for the first time, it didn't feel like running. It felt like living. The snow was deep enough that the tires crunched as I pulled up the cabin driveway. Diesel's tail started wagging in the back seat, like he knew we were home. The headlights caught two figures standing on the porch. For a second, I thought maybe it was the landlord. But then I saw her, Mom, wrapped in her long coat, and beside her Kyle, hands jammed in his pockets, face red from the cold. I killed the engine but didn't get out right away. My pulse picked up. Diesel let out a low growl, the kind that said he didn't like what he smelled. I cracked the door open and stepped out into the freezing air. Jake, Mom said immediately, voice tight like she'd been holding it in all day. We need to talk. I stopped halfway up the steps. You're not supposed to be here. Kyle laughed under his breath. Relax, man. We drove all night. We just want to make things right. Right? I repeated. You two showing up uninvited after everything doesn't sound like that. Mom took a step closer, her boots scraping the porch. You can hate me all you want, but I'm still your mother. I raised you. You don't turn your back on blood. You didn't raise me, I said. You drained me. There's a difference. Her face snapped hard, eyes narrowing. Don't you talk to me like that after all I've done for you? Kyle stepped in front of her, hands up. Okay, stop. This isn't helping. Then he turned to me. Look, man, you made your point. You're angry, fine. But the rest of us are hurting too. Mom's been sick. The house. Don't start. I cut him off. I've heard that story before. This isn't a story, he snapped. We're freezing. The power's out at home. We just need a few hundred to get things back. No, I said flatly. Kyle's tone changed fast. You got plenty now, right? New job, new house, new life. What's a couple hundred to you? Diesel barked from inside the cabin, claws scraping the door. I pointed toward the truck. Get back in your car. Now. Mom's voice broke sharp through the cold. You've turned cruel, Jake. I barely recognize you. All this talk about independence and boundaries. What about family? You think that job makes you better than us? It doesn't make me better, I said. It just means I finally stopped paying to be treated like garbage. Kyle shoved his hands deeper into his jacket. You're acting like some martyr, man. You think you're the only one who worked hard? You wouldn't have anything if Mom hadn't... If Mom hadn't what? I stepped up closer. Lied about surgeries? Took my money and went on vacations? You both laughed about it for years. I saw the messages. Kyle's jaw tightened. That was a joke. Yeah? I said. You joked about me paying for Grandma's fake medical fund while you bought a boat. Real funny. He moved up another step, right in my face now. You don't talk to Mom like that. Back off, Kyle. He didn't. His breath came out in clouds, the same smell of cheap energy drinks I remembered from every holiday. You think because you lift a few old ladies off gurneys, you're some kind of hero? You're nothing but a bitter nurse with a savior complex. I didn't say anything. He smirked, mistaking my silence for weakness. You know what? You owe us. All of us. You left us to drown. I felt my hands clench before I thought about it. Drown? I said. You've been swimming in my money for years. He jabbed a finger into my chest. You wouldn't have survived without family either, Jake. Don't forget who you are. That did it. I grabbed his jacket and slammed him against the cabin wall. The wood shuddered. Snow dropped from the railing above us. Who I am, I said through my teeth. I'm the guy who kept you fed while you partied. I'm the idiot who paid your bills because Mom said you were broke. I'm the fool you all called the ATM. Kyle's eyes went wide, breath fogging against the siding. Mom gasped but didn't move closer. You done? I asked. He nodded fast. I let go and stepped back. He stumbled into the snow, swearing under his breath. Get off my property, I said. Now. Mom started crying then. Real or practiced, I couldn't tell anymore. This isn't you, Jake. You were kind. I still am, I said quietly. Just not for you. She stared at me like she was trying to find the version of me she used to manipulate. When she didn't, her face hardened. You'll regret this. Family doesn't forget things like this. I hope not, I said, and opened the door. Diesel stood there growling low, shoulders tense. They hesitated only a moment before turning toward their car. Kyle muttered something I didn't catch. The tires spun a little before catching the icy road, taillights fading into the dark. I stood on the porch until the sound disappeared completely. The cold bit through my sleeves, but I didn't care. Diesel came out and sat beside me, watching the empty road. After a minute, I went inside, locked the door, and leaned the folder I'd printed weeks ago, the dossier, against the window frame. Family record, I muttered. Case closed. The rest of the night was quiet except for the wind. Around midnight, my laptop chimed. A new email. It was from Mia. Merry Christmas, Jake. I'm still trying. I stared at it for a few seconds, then typed one line back. Keep going. That's all that matters. I shut the laptop, went to the window, and looked out. Snow kept falling in soft sheets. Diesel was asleep by the door, tail twitching. I checked my budget pinned to the fridge. The numbers were steady. Rent, savings, food, all balanced. I opened my phone and ordered new tires for pickup next week, then booked a 2-day trip to the coast for my next weekend off. Small things, normal things. I stepped out onto the porch again, scarf tight around my neck. The air was sharp and clean. I looked at the truck, the garage, the quiet light spilling from the window. Not perfect, but mine. They used to call me the family ATM. I call it tuition, the price I paid to learn who's worth keeping. I turned off the porch light, locked the door, and let the dark settle over the cabin. This time, I slept straight through till morning. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.